Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hyperconscious Podcast is proudly sponsored by our friend and mentor, David Meltzer of the Playbook Podcast. He was kind enough to join us on episode 144 and 135.
Folks, it has become Kevin and I's mission in life to help you realize that the life of your dreams is right on the other side of you becoming the greatest version of yourself. Let us help you do that.
I rarely do these things twice in such a short amount of time, but you guys impress me. I believe in people that provide value and of our service. You two guys are on your way to huge fulfillment, purpose, and profitability, and I look forward to helping you both.
We appreciate that more than you know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where Alan and I were lucky enough to sit down with the amazing Anthony Trucks. Today, we are going to do, for episode number 211, a 5-minute clinic on practice. Thank you to Joyce for the suggestion.
So before we jump into this episode, I want you to go to the hyperconsciouspodcast.com.
Yes.
Click on join hashtag Hyperconscious Nation. The group is growing. Kevin and I are going live in there. For all things hyperconscious, go there.
Go there. Also, if you come across a segment or have a breakthrough during this podcast, please screenshot the point and put it up on your Instagram, tag Alan and myself, and we will share that as well. Again, we are trying to make as many people as hyper-conscious as humanly possible. We're trying to change the world.
Those are facts, all of those things.
Facts, not opinions. Let's get this going.
So I want to provide a little bit of context here. So Kevin and I had the idea to do the 5-minute clinic on practice. We've switched some things up, and I prepped questions. This was originally going to be a small talks episode, but we had to switch it up once we got another question from the group. So this is going to be a speed round, and I'm just going to hammer through these questions. There's only 3 of them, but we only have 5 minutes, so let's rock.
Yeah.
Number 1, on past episodes, you've talked a lot about how you used to think that being really successful or really confident wasn't possible for you. That sort of fixed mindset. Question, what do you believe now, and how can the listeners practice having a growth mindset?
Oh my goodness, guys! The fact that the point of the podcast, or my mission statement, is basically the wrapping up of it is you can have whatever life you're willing to work for.
Right.
Work for denotes that you're going to have to practice, and I think for you, having a growth mindset is the understanding that the first time you try something, it most likely won't work. The second time you try something, it will be better than the first. It's going to take hundreds of times before you're confident or competent, but you have to understand that going in. If you're looking for immediate results and gratification, then go put your hand on the oven or the stovetop, because you'll get it then. But when it comes to success and mastery, it takes time. It takes time.
I'll never forget when Terrence McMahon interviewed me, and he said, that's the worst you'll ever do.
Yes.
Yeah. Second question. Speed round.
Speed round.
You used to use an analogy about the splits a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's simple but super powerful if applied over the long term to any craft. Question for Kevin. Can you go into what that analogy is and how it applies to practice?
All right, so what I used to say, and what I still say it, but not as much, basically, we'll use Alan and I. Both Alan and I could do the splits. The problem is neither of us has practiced them. Anybody can do the splits. The reason gymnasts can do the splits is because they've practiced it for years and years and years, and it's part of their everyday system of success. It's part of their everyday habits. So I believe anybody, unless you have like a medical condition where you can't physically do the splits,
right.
The reason you can't do the splits is because you haven't focused on it and you haven't put in consistent actions. You haven't practiced it enough. And you don't have a reason to.
I know.
If you don't have a reason, then you're
Why
not gonna,
would you?
Right. Not going to. I said this. I want to do a time-lapse video of me practicing every single day and getting better and better at the splits, because I think that'd be a great little viral video. The problem is, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, right. So one thing I wanted to say about that right now, you and I actually can't do the splits in this moment.
Right.
We can't.
Right.
Okay? I hate that word can't. So in this moment, we can't, but that doesn't mean we can't ever.
No, right.
There's a huge difference. So when someone says you can't do that, maybe not this moment, but in a decade, you easily could.
You build a skyscraper from the ground up.
Right.
The first floor is not the top. Like it's just how it goes. Every day you try more, and things compound.
Fire. Speed round continued.
Speed round continued.
5-minute clinic on practice.
Yes, episode number 211, some would say.
Some would say. I personally believe that one of the greatest mistakes humans make is to think short term, when for most people, statistically speaking, life has become a very long-term game. Question for Kevin. What are 3 examples of things you quote-unquote sucked at in the beginning that now you would consider yourself very confident, competent, and proficient in?
I sucked at podcasting.
Right.
100%. I was terrible. I had no emotion. I didn't know what questions to ask. I wasn't confident. I didn't know how to, right now I do so much multitasking. You know that. I'm always looking at the clock. I'm checking the levels. I'm making sure I'm always doing 1,000 things. I was not capable of that on episode 1. If I tried that, I would have failed for sure. And I did fail along the way. So number 1, podcasting. Number 2, relationships. I have failed at every single relationship I've ever been in, except the one I'm currently in. And I think that's how most people are. But if you allow yourself to base your future success off your past failures, you're always going to be behind the 8 ball. You're always going to be behind the curve.
One more. Something you sucked at one point, and now you're really
rapping.
There you go.
Rapping. I've been rapping. I've been writing a long time, but I haven't been rapping a long time. So the first few times I tried to rap, I wasn't great. I definitely wasn't where I am today, but I practiced that. I have so many hours, and trust me, I'm about to go off and double down on rapping.
Do we have enough time for you to spit a rap?
Nothing that's appropriate for the listeners.
Oh, okay.
Most likely.
You could bleep out the bad stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
All right, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
That was everything I had for you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're only at 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Do you have anything you want to add?
What are 3 examples of things you quote-unquote sucked at in the beginning that now you would consider yourself very competent in, proficient in? Do I want to add anything? Practice. 5-minute clinic. Yeah. So, study, practice, and teach. If I want to be an engineer, I had to go to school to study engineering for 4 years, electrical and computer engineering. If I want to be successful, I have to study success. But for some reason, people don't get that.
Yeah.
So study, practice, and teach. Practice is 1/3 of the equation. Everything Kevin just talked about, he studies podcasting. He studies speaking. He listens to Joe Rogan. Every day in the morning, you listen to some Joe Rogs.
Well, when I'm on my stuff, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So that's studying. He studies every time we have a call with David Meltzer. We're studying a podcaster who's next level. He practices every day, not every day, but 4 times a week, being in front of the mic.
Yeah.
And then you teach podcasting.
Yeah.
You've taught one of my clients, Alex Hinkle, who has the Think Tank podcast. You helped him with that.
Yep.
Study, practice, teach. Practice is so critical. Don't teach what you don't practice, and you will eventually master the thing as long as you're practicing it consistently, studying it consistently, and then incorporating teaching into that as well.
Do you want to do a little bit of fear chasing? I'll throw on a beat and try to do it.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
I think
for
we
sure.
should.
I've never done this on the podcast before.
So I called
Let
him
me
out.
just test the audio here, make sure I can get it going. And make sure that feels good. How's that sound in your headphones?
Sounds good.
Is it good? All right, let me run it back. I don't remember where I drop it, but all right, ready?
Yep.
Feel it pain, feel it shame, hoping y'all feel the same. Hear the rain pouring down, I'll take the blame and go insane. And every single time I see your face, it's just like Novocaine. Take me to a calmer place, take away this constant pain. What if I just up and left? Would you even care? What if I had nothing left? Would I be prepared? What if it was my last day to wake up, stretch and breathe this air? Really hope I float away, I wonder will I see you there? But maybe it's a dream, a nightmare that I'm living, something that I'm missing, double visions, dumb decisions, blunt incisions got me bleeding out. The stupid games we played together, think I went and screwed it up. No way left to make it better. Damn, I got it now. Reality hurts. There's just no way to fix it without breaking it first. And the icing on the cake is I'm just making it worse. Or is this in my head and I'm just faking this curse? It's like every single time I have a thought, I gotta question it. Find myself searching for exactly what the lesson is. No option for optimism, stuck here as the pessimist. Even on the best of days, I forget to mention it. Dealing with the struggle's hard. Driving down this boulevard, stretch you thin like polar parts. A broken man who's full of heart. Hard to figure out who is real and who is faking. Is this thing a lucid dream or am I just hallucinating?
Ah, that was awesome.
God, I'm sweating.
That was awesome.
So at one point, guys, let me just pause this. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to use that music. At one point, I was nervous to do that. Like, I'm shaking because that's still, with certain people, I'm very confident rapping, right? Like with Matt around, with Wally, with you, Mark Metry, Eddie. But like when it comes to just doing it on the fly, it's hard. And again, that is years.
That's the accumulation of practice
That's
over time.
years of me doing that. That's years of me reciting. I wrote that a year ago, that song. That's the
Right.
only reason I know it now. So, and I appreciate you challenging me to do that.
Absolutely, brother. I want the listeners to take away that years accumulated to that. You only heard that 60 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever it was.
I think it was like 60, yeah.
Yeah. But yet, that was the accumulated compound effect of practice over years. And
Yeah.
that's what everything is.
I think that is a great example of what practice actually is. And find something that you love doing. Like, I love that. I love rapping. I love podcasting. I love lifting. I've been practicing martial arts for a long time. We're going way over, but I've been practicing martial arts for a long time. I can't wait until I can go to the gym and really practice with
I can't
people.
wait to see your first fight.
I can't wait. My life is, I'm very happy with where I am right now, and I'm really happy. Like I said, I'm going to double down on rapping. I'm going to double down on podcasting. I'm going to double down on martial arts, and those are my three. That's my genius zone. That's where I want
Your
to be.
big three.
Anything to go? You want
Figure out
to
your-
recite a poem or something?
No, I'm okay.
If you have the to fight for it, whatever it is.
We don't have time, but I will another time for sure. If you're out there right now, Kevin just named his big three. The three things that he loves the most, that he wants to practice the most, study the most, teach the most. Figure out what yours are and chase them as if your life depends on it, because it does.
Because it does. All right, so this is what happens, and this happens every episode that we do this.
Yep.
This is the end, and we don't know what we're going to do after this. And you know what we should do?
Small Talks episode on
On what?
whatever you feel.
All right, so when we get back, it's going to be post-Florida. I think we should do a Scratching the Surface on a Florida wrap-up, for sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to this. All right, guys, we need you again in Hyperconscious Nation. Please, and I'll put a post up, but please let us know what you would like to hear about. What are you struggling with? What is something that has been weighing on your mind lately? What can we help you with? That is the point of this podcast, so please let us know how we can add value and be of service to you.
I'm going live later tonight in that group, and I will also ask the listeners what they would like the next Small Talks episode to be on.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this, hearing me rap and talking about practice, and whatever you say, we will do next, and we hope you will enjoy.
Talk soon.
Bye.